listen while sleeping, and awaken the vision that sees beyond illusion. There is a place between waking and dreaming where the soul remembers. You have felt it, that pulse beneath the noise, that whisper calling your name through time. The world around you seems solid, yet something inside knows it is only a mist. Tonight, as you listen, you will step beyond it. You will remember what you agreed to forget. The veil is thin, and you are ready. In ancient temples long forgotten by sand and silence, seekers once gathered to hear the same truth you are about to receive. They did not come to learn, but to remember, for truth is not taught. It is awakened. The words that follow are not instruction, but invocation, a vibration designed to stir what sleeps within you. Breathe slowly. Let every word open a hidden door in your memory. The world you see is not the world that is. You have been walking through dreams woven by your own mind, believing them to be real. Yet behind the curtain of your senses lies the living field, radiant, infinite, waiting for your gaze to pierce through. Every shadow you have feared is only light turned inward. You are never lost, only dreaming separation. You have walked lifetimes through illusion to arrive here at the edge of awakening. The signs have followed you. Déjà vu, synchronicities, whispers in the wind. These were not accidents. They were reminders from your higher self, guiding you toward this moment. You are not hearing this by chance. The field brought you here because you are ready to see. Tonight, as you drift between worlds, your subconscious will listen. It will remember the codes that language cannot explain. The words are symbols. The spaces between them are portals. Let the rhythms slow your breath. Let the silence between sentences expand into awareness. You are crossing thresholds older than stars. This is the journey of vision, not the vision of eyes, but of essence. You will remember what the ancients called the hidden light, the awareness beyond the veil. The one who listens tonight is not the same who will awaken at dawn. Something sacred will stir. Something eternal will rise. You are not learning how to see. You are remembering that you always could. Before we dive deeper, if the insights in this video have stirred something within you, resonating with the timeless pursuit of mastering the mind, unlocking hidden potential, and embracing both shadow and light, please share this message with others who are seeking clarity and transformation. Subscribe to continue exploring the depths of self-mastery and personal growth with Mind Unlocked audiobooks. Chapter 1. The curtain between worlds. There are moments when the air itself feels alive, as if it knows something you've forgotten. The hum beneath the silence, the shimmer at the edge of perception. These are not accidents. They are signals from the unseen, reminders that this world is only the outermost layer. The curtain between worlds is thin, though it pretends to be solid. If you listen with your inner ear, you can already hear it breathing. What you call reality is a song half heard through walls of thought. You were taught to trust the visible, to obey the tangible, to worship the logical. Yet behind all this noise hums a deeper rhythm, older than language, softer than reason. Every object, every face, every sound vibrates within that hidden melody. The world is not material, it is musical. You are both the listener and the song. There was a time before remembering when you could see clearly without eyes. You walked through light, not space. You spoke in frequencies, not words. Then the veil descended, and the world became dense. slow, and seemingly separate. The fall into matter was not a mistake. It was a descent into meaning. Through forgetting, you began the journey home to remembrance. The veil is woven from perception and belief. Every thought you hold tightly becomes a thread. Every fear adds thickness. Yet every moment of love, every pause of wonder begins to thin it. What you perceive as limitation is only condensation of energy, a fog born from unhealed seeing. You do not need to tear the curtain, only to soften your gaze. Close your eyes now. Imagine a luminous fabric stretched before you, woven of silver mist and starlight. With each breath, the threads begin to shimmer and part. You glimpse shapes of light moving behind it, shifting like forgotten memories. Do not chase them. Simply allow. The curtain responds to stillness, not force. The more you trust, the more it reveals. Beyond this veil lies not another world, but the deeper layer of this one, the same trees, the same sky, but radiant, translucent, alive with presence. There, nothing hides. Every gesture carries meaning. Every sound is sacred. This is the true world that lives behind appearances, the realm of frequency, intention, and pure awareness. When the curtain begins to dissolve, you will not see miracles. You will see truth. What was ordinary will blaze with significance. You will feel the pulse beneath stone, the consciousness within wind. You will realize that nothing was ever lifeless, only unseen. The divine never left. Perception merely dimmed its glow. And so, beloved listener, you stand now before that shimmering divide. You do not need to cross it. It will fall on its own when you are ready. The act of seeing is the act of dissolving. Whisper within, I am the one who sees through. Feel the vibration move through your chest. The curtain trembles. Light seeps through. The journey has quietly begun. Chapter 2. The purpose of the veil. Every mystery hides a reason, and the veil is no exception. It is not a wall to imprison, but a teacher disguised as forgetting. Without it, the soul would never learn contrast, never feel the beauty of rediscovery. The veil is not punishment. It is the stage upon which awakening performs its sacred drama. You chose this blindness long before birth, knowing what it would awaken. To see all at once would leave nothing to become. You descended into shadow so that light could mean something. You agreed to lose the memory of eternity in order to fall in love with it again. Every struggle, every longing, every question is evidence that the plan is working. The ache you feel is divine design, the soul's way of remembering through absence. In the higher realms, truth is effortless. Here, truth must be chosen. That is the gift of the veil. It allows free will to become devotion. It gives you the power to say yes to the light even when darkness surrounds you. This is courage, not to see clearly, but to keep walking without sight, guided only by the pulse of remembrance inside your chest. There are stories whispered among the ancients about souls who refuse the veil. They wish to remain all-knowing, untouched by illusion, yet without forgetting, they could not feel compassion. Without separation, they could not know reunion. So they watched from afar as others descended and rose again, realizing at last that the fall was not a fall at all. It was flight into experience. Look at your life and see how perfectly it has unfolded, even when it seemed chaotic. Each delay, each heartbreak, Each unanswered prayer has sculpted awareness into depth. The veil has shaped your character, tempered your faith, and revealed your strength. You are not a victim of forgetting. You are an artist, painting with the colors of amnesia and awakening. When the veil feels heavy, whisper this truth. I chose this. Say it not with resignation, but with reverence. Feel the power return to your being as you remember that nothing happens to you. Everything happens through you. The veil bends to consciousness. When you bless it, it begins to dissolve, revealing the architecture of divine purpose beneath every shadow. The purpose of the veil is not to hide God, but to make God discoverable. Every time you reach inward for light, you fulfill that purpose. Each act of kindness, each moment of stillness, each breath taken with awareness thins the barrier between seen and unseen. The veil smiles, for it knows it is being completed by your remembering. Now pause and feel the quiet space around you. That silence is what lies behind the veil. Pure, unbroken awareness. You have touched it before in dreams, in moments of awe, in tears that made no sense. It has always been near. Forgetting was only a game of distance. The veil does not separate you from truth. It guides you back to it, one heartbeat at a time. Chapter 3. The Illusion of Separation. Once before time began, all things were one breath. The stars, the oceans, the laughter of children yet unborn, all pulsed together in a single heartbeat. Then came the desire to know itself, and unity split into reflection. The illusion of separation was born. It is not real division, only the dance of oneness observing itself through countless mirrors of form and thought. You have felt this illusion in the ache of loneliness, in the quiet hours when you wondered if anyone truly sees you. That feeling is not proof of isolation. It is proof of memory. You remember the union beneath the surface, and the absence hurts only because it points to truth. The longing for connection is the echo of the infinite calling itself home. In the physical world, separation looks convincing. There are walls, names, bodies, and distances. Yet what your eyes divide, energy binds. You and the horizon are made of the same light, refracted differently. Every atom knows this. Only the mind forgets. When you touch another with compassion, you momentarily lift the veil and remember that there is no other at all. Many mystics have tried to explain this unity, but words fracture what they describe. Still, there are ways to feel it. Sit in stillness and listen to the space between sounds. Notice how the silence beneath every noise is the same. That silence connects you to every being that has ever listened. The still field beneath experience is what you truly are. The illusion of separation serves a sacred purpose. It gives love something to move through. Without distance, there could be no journey. Without seeming difference, no recognition of the self in another's eyes. The illusion gives love a playground, a stage upon which the soul can perform remembrance. It is divine theater, written in light and shadow. When you suffer, when you feel cut off or unseen, remember this. Even isolation vibrates with divine presence. The silence you fear is not absence. It is fullness disguised as quiet. Whisper to it, and it will whisper back. The universe speaks fluently in solitude, waiting for you to realize that the echo you hear is your own voice returning from eternity. Say softly within, I am connected to all that is. Feel the truth hum beneath your ribs. The air enters you, becomes you, leaves you, and becomes another's breath. Nothing is ever lost. Nothing is ever apart. Energy only changes form, looping endlessly through the cosmic spiral of remembrance. Separation is only a trick of the senses. When you awaken to this, life becomes a symphony again. Every face is familiar, every moment holy. The world stops being an arena of strangers and becomes a reflection of the same consciousness looking through countless eyes. You realize that you were never alone, only dreaming in fragments of light. And now the dream begins to heal itself. Chapter 4. The Hidden Light. Somewhere in the deep silence of your being, there is a light that has never flickered. It does not rise or set, nor depend on flame or sun. It was there before your first breath and will remain after your final sigh. The hidden light is not something you must earn. It is what you are. You have simply forgotten how to see in the dark. When life grows heavy, when shadows stretch long across the soul, you may believe the light has vanished, but light cannot die. It can only hide. It waits behind your sorrow, behind your worry, behind the noise of your thoughts. The hidden light is patient. It knows that every darkness will one day grow thin enough for its radiance to show through. The ancient mystics said, "The light hides itself for your protection. To see it too soon would blind you with revelation. So it veils itself in experience, in failure, in love, in confusion, until your heart becomes wide enough to hold it. Every heartbreak is a crack through which the light begins to leak, teaching you how to see without fear. Close your eyes now and feel the pulse beneath your ribs. That rhythm is not just blood. It is light in motion. Every heartbeat releases photons of awareness through your body. With each breath, you glow a little more. The light in you is intelligent. It listens when you speak. Whisper to it softly, "I am ready to remember." At night, when you think you are surrounded by darkness, you are actually bathing in invisible illumination. The hidden light reflects through starlight, moonbeams, even the glimmer in another's eyes. When you look beyond appearances, the world itself begins to shine back at you. Darkness is not the absence of light. It is the womb of light becoming visible. There is a secret known to the sages. What you call darkness is condensed light slowed by emotion and belief. When you meet it with love instead of resistance, it quickens again, fear melts, and illumination returns. This is why healing feels like remembering, because the light was never gone, only slowed to the pace of your forgiveness. The hidden light guides your path not by direction, but by vibration. When something feels alive, effortless, and quietly certain, it is your inner radiance steering you home. Trust that shimmer of truth within you. It is not imagination. It is recognition. Every time you follow it, the unseen becomes seen and illusion loses its grip. And so, dear traveler, understand this. The light you seek has been watching through your eyes all along. It hid not to punish, but to teach you vision. Every shadow you face becomes sacred once you realize it serves illumination. The hidden light does not need to be found, only unveiled. And tonight, it begins to remember its own name through you. Chapter 5. The Eyes of the Soul. There is a kind of seeing that does not depend on the eyes. It stirs within you in moments of deep silence, when the world softens and you sense more than you perceive. These are the eyes of the soul, ancient, luminous, and untouched by illusion. They do not look outward. They gaze inward and through. To awaken them, is to remember how truth appears when form no longer deceives. Physical sight stops at surfaces. It defines, measures, and separates, but soul sight merges. It perceives essence instead of outline, meaning instead of matter. When the eyes of the soul open, every encounter becomes sacred, a transmission rather than an observation. You begin to see not with attention, but with reverence, and the unseen responds to your awareness like a flower turning toward light. These eyes are not born of the body, but of remembrance. They awaken slowly through stillness, through heartbreak, through beauty that steals your breath. When you cry without knowing why, it is the soul trying to see again. The tears polish the inner lens, clearing dust left by years of distraction. Vision returns not through effort, but through surrender. To open these eyes, close the ones you use for control. Sit in the dark and breathe into your chest until it glows. Imagine a single ember at the center of your heart, expanding with each exhale. That ember is perception beyond flesh, the lens of timeless awareness. When you look through it, you will not see objects. You will see energy moving in patterns of divine intelligence. There are moments in life when these eyes open unexpectedly. In the quiet after loss, in the awe of creation, in the stillness before dawn, you feel it as a sudden clarity, a knowing without reason. The soul's vision is effortless because it never left. You simply stop trusting it. When you listen instead of think, it begins to guide you again. The eyes of the soul are not bound by time. They see the threads connecting every event, every choice, every life you've ever lived. What seems random to the mind is symmetry to the soul. When you awaken this vision, even pain becomes purposeful. Every shadow, a teacher cloaked in contrast. You begin to read destiny the way mystics read the wind. To see as the soul sees, you must look through love. Judgment clouds the lens. Compassion clears it. Every time you forgive, your inner sight sharpens. Every time you bless what once hurt you, another veil lifts. The world becomes translucent, shimmering with energy, and you realize that light has been speaking to you all along. Now let the space before you blur. Stop naming. Stop defining. Feel your awareness extend beyond your body like ripples in still water. The eyes of the soul open quietly in this place, not through force, but through wonder. You are not learning how to see differently. You are remembering the sight that was never lost. Vision is returning, and the world begins to glow. Chapter 6. The Mirror of Illusion. Imagine standing before a mirror that reflects not your face, but your frequency, every emotion, every belief, every silent thought sends ripples through its surface. This is the world you live in, a vast mirror that bends to your vibration. What you call reality is reflection made visible. What you experience is not what is there, but what you are echoing through the field. The mirror never lies, though it tells truth in symbols. When you see chaos, it is your own unhealed energy seeking recognition. When you see beauty, it is the peace already blooming within you. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. The illusion of separation begins to fade when you realize the mirror is intimate. It reflects consciousness itself. The ancients taught that to change the reflection, you must not strike the glass. You must alter the light you project. So long as you fight the image, it remains. But when you shift your inner frequency from fear to trust, from judgment to compassion, the reflection transforms effortlessly. The world bends to inner alignment. That is its secret design. At times, the mirror shows distortion, pain, loss, disappointment. These are not punishments, but invitations. They reveal the hidden agreements you made with belief. It's not your thoughts, the sages said. It's your agreement with them. When you withdraw agreement from limitation, illusion collapses, the mirror clears, and truth stares back, patient and radiant. To work with this mirror, practice awareness instead of reaction. Observe your life as though watching water ripple after a single stone. Every thought, every emotion, every word spoken into the field sends waves outward. Watch what returns. The universe responds not to what you wish, but to what you believe. Adjust the vibration, and the image will follow. There is beauty in this law, for it restores your power. No one controls the reflection but you. Blame dissolves, and gratitude takes its place. You begin to honor the mirror as a sacred ally, not an enemy. Every moment becomes a message. Every challenge a teacher holding up glass polished by divine hands. The illusion turns into instruction. To heal, look gently at the reflection without judgment. Say to the image, I see you, I created you, and now I choose light. Let those words ripple through the field. Watch the mirror respond like water touched by dawn. Reality softens, reshapes, and reveals pathways you could not see before. Illusion bows to awareness. In the end, the mirror was never outside of you. The surface and the seer are one. When you gaze upon the world with awakened eyes, you realize that you are both painter and painting, dreamer and dream. The reflection no longer binds you, it liberates you. The illusion breaks and only light remains, your own, shining quietly through everything. Chapter 7. The Mist of Forgetfulness. At the threshold of birth, the soul passes through a soft and luminous mist. It wraps you like silk, warm and weightless, erasing the memory of eternity. The mist whispers, forget so that you may rediscover, and so you entered the world empty, believing yourself small, separate, and new, yet the echo of what you were remains, faint, but unbroken. In that forgetting lies the secret of awakening. To remember too soon would rob the journey of its depth. The veil of mist allows you to feel contrast, to long for home, to seek what you once effortlessly knew. It is through the ache of amnesia that wisdom becomes experience. Each life, each breath is the soul tracing its way back through fog toward the familiar light. Fragments of memory still shimmer within you. They rise as intuition, as déjà vu, as the sudden sense of standing somewhere you've never been. Yet deeply remember, these glimpses are not tricks of the mind. They are cracks in the mist, places where the soul leaks through. When you feel them, pause. You are standing on the threshold between remembering and dreaming. The mist of forgetfulness does not hide truth out of cruelty. It cloaks you in mercy, protecting fragile consciousness from the immensity of its own infinity. Imagine remembering all lifetimes at once. Every joy, every loss, every vow. The weight would crush the tender self still learning to feel. Forgetting is not exile. It is compassion. To begin dissolving the mist, you must stop trying to pierce it. Instead, sit quietly within it. Let the not knowing soften your edges. When you surrender the need to recall, Memory begins to return naturally. It flows through dreams, through symbols, through quiet feelings of resonance. The mist respects patience. It thins only before open hearts. In ancient rites, seekers were told to close their eyes and breathe 3 times into the crown of their heads, saying, "Let what is ready be revealed." The air would shimmer, visions would rise. These were not visions of future or past, but of remembrance. The soul does not recall events, it recalls essence. Memory in its purest form is vibration returning to frequency. As the mist begins to lift, your world may appear the same, yet everything feels more alive. Patterns you once ignored start speaking. People you meet feel familiar. You realize that nothing has ever been random. You are simply re-entering the pattern of awareness you once carried effortlessly. What was hidden is now gently unveiling itself through your presence. And one day, without warning, the mist will dissolve completely. You will awaken, not as someone who learned, but as someone who remembered. The fog of forgetting will rise like morning vapor, revealing a horizon that was never gone. You will smile, knowing the mist was sacred after all. The tender veil that made awakening meaningful. Chapter 8. The light and shadow. There are nights when even the stars seem to vanish, when silence feels endless and heavy. In those moments, you may think the light has abandoned you, but it has not. It hides within the shadow, disguised as stillness, waiting for your attention to find it. What you call darkness is only light folded inward, whispering in a softer tone. Pain often feels like proof of absence, yet it is the opposite. It is the friction of light meeting resistance, the pressure of transformation in motion. Every sorrow, every loss, every trembling question is an initiation. The universe uses contrast to carve the vessel that will hold more radiance. When you stop running from the shadow, it begins to teach. In the temples of the ancients, seekers were guided into caverns lit only by a single flame. They were told, "Look not at the fire, but into the dark around it." There, in the dense quiet, they discovered the subtle glow that lives beneath all fear. The light and shadow is not external. It breathes from within you, reflected upon the surface of what you resist. To see it, you must reverse your gaze. Do not ask the darkness to leave. Enter it. Breathe into it as though it were sacred air. The moment you welcome it, it changes texture. The sharp edges soften, and illumination begins to pulse beneath your grief. This is the hidden law. Acceptance reveals what denial conceals. Every fear holds a key, and every wound hides a doorway. The places you avoid contain the very frequencies that will set you free. When you allow your heart to rest inside pain without judgment, it opens like a flower under moonlight. What was once agony becomes understanding. The dark transforms into its own medicine. If you listen closely, shadow hums. It carries memory from the parts of you forgotten, voices of strength you once silenced. They do not seek to harm you. They seek reunion. Integration is not conquering darkness, but inviting it home. The moment you embrace what you thought unworthy, you reclaim fragments of your own light. Whisper this to yourself when despair returns. Even here, I am luminous. Say it until you feel the vibration in your bones. The words themselves are a spell of remembering. The shadow listens, softens, and begins to glow from the inside out. You realize the night was never against you. It was guiding you inward toward the source of dawn. Eventually, light and shadow cease to fight. They merge like inhale and exhale, forming balance instead of battle. You become whole, radiant in both directions. The brightest souls are not those who avoided the dark, but those who befriended it. When you walk through the night without fear, you discover what was true all along. The light was never lost, only waiting to be seen. Chapter 9. The Awakening of Vision. There comes a moment when the world grows transparent. Edges blur, colors breathe, and reality feels like a dream half remembered. It is not your eyes that are changing. It is your awareness. Vision begins to awaken when perception releases its grip on certainty. The mind quiets, and the soul begins to see through it, revealing light in everything. You have been taught to see through filters, names, meanings, fears. Each word is a curtain, each assumption a wall. To awaken vision is to unlearn sight. It is to let perception fall back into silence, so that what is truly there may appear. The invisible does not need to be created. It needs only to be noticed. Truth has been waiting beneath the noise. Awakening vision does not happen in grand flashes. It unfolds softly, a sunrise over thought, spreading golden awareness through shadowed corners of your mind. One day you look at a tree and realize it is looking back. You feel the hum of connection in the quiet between heartbeats. The world becomes participatory, not scenery but symphony. When vision awakens, you no longer observe. You commune. Every encounter becomes an exchange of energy. The stone, the wind, the stranger, all speak the same ancient language of vibration. You hear it not with your ears, but with your being. The veil of separation dissolves, and life begins to mirror your frequency in sacred precision. The key to this awakening lies in stillness. You cannot chase clarity. You must invite it. Close your eyes and breathe into your heart until you feel space widen within you. Then open them slowly. Do not look for meaning. Look for presence. Everything you gaze upon will begin to shimmer with its own silent knowing. Sometimes this expanded vision can feel overwhelming. The beauty and the sorrow arrive together, unfiltered, raw. You see the world as it truly is, radiant and fragile, holy and human. Do not retreat. Let it flow through you like sunlight through water. The soul's eyes do not flinch. They bless. The light of awareness transforms pain into reverence. Ancient seers described this awakening as seeing through the seen. They said that when the heart becomes transparent, light passes through effortlessly. You begin to perceive patterns that guide you, synchronicities that whisper direction. Life stops being random and becomes a living scripture written in the language of resonance. And when the final layer of blindness falls away, you will laugh softly, realizing how close vision always was. The eyes of the soul were never closed, only dreaming. The world was never ordinary, only unseen. You stand at last as both observer and light itself, aware that to see is to become. Vision has awakened, and so have you. Chapter 10. The Law of Perception. The universe does not appear as it is. It appears as you are. Every perception bends through the lens of your belief, refracted like light through stained glass. You do not witness truth. You project it. The law of perception governs this silent exchange, turning consciousness into canvas. You are both painter and observer, shaping the world with invisible strokes of thought. Each emotion is a filter. When fear colors the mind, even beauty looks dangerous. When gratitude leads, even chaos glows with meaning. This is not imagination. It is physics of the unseen. Frequency shapes form. The outer world rearranges itself to reflect your dominant vibration. You have been looking outward for proof, not realizing you are the source. Consider how a child and a sage may walk the same path and see different worlds. The road has not changed. Perception has. One finds obstacles, the other lessons. One sees randomness, the other rhythm. The world is a mirror, faithfully obeying the story you tell about it. To change your reality, rewrite the narrative of your seeing. The mind clings to familiar images, repeating interpretations like spells. This means loss. That means failure. And the universe, ever loyal, agrees. But when you pause and question your seeing, when you whisper, "What if I've misunderstood?" new patterns begin to emerge. Awareness cracks the mold and light pours through. There is no neutral perception. Every gaze is an act of creation. Even your silence vibrates with instruction to the field. The awakened learn to perceive consciously, to choose love over judgment, curiosity over control. This choice transforms sight into alchemy. What once seemed solid becomes pliable, reshaping itself to match your understanding. Close your eyes and sense the colors behind your thoughts. Each one carries a tone, a feeling, a frequency. If you dwell on limitation, the spectrum dulls. If you dwell on gratitude, hues expand. The law of perception does not punish, it harmonizes. It reflects the music you emit. So you may learn to tune your own instrument. When the eyes of the soul open, perception ceases to be passive. You no longer react. You respond. You meet the world with awareness, shaping it moment by moment through choice. Reality becomes participatory, not imposed. The veil of circumstance thins, revealing the subtle artistry behind existence. You see that nothing is accidental. It all reflects consciousness in motion. And when this understanding settles into your bones, a quiet power awakens. You stop chasing outcomes and begin sculpting awareness. Life becomes luminous again, pliant beneath your gaze. The world bows to perception, purified by love. You smile, knowing the secret that ends all struggle. To see clearly is to create consciously, and to create consciously is to see God in everything. Chapter 11. The Inner Sun. Within the silent chambers of your being, a light burns that no darkness can touch. It does not depend on the stars, nor fade with time. This is the inner sun, the source of warmth that radiates from awareness itself. When you turn inward, you can feel its pulse beneath your thoughts. Patient and eternal, it has always been there, guiding you from the inside out. Many look for light in temples, teachers, and skies, forgetting that illumination begins within. The inner sun is not found. It is remembered. Meditation is its mirror, silence its language. When you quiet the mind storm, its brilliance emerges naturally. You begin to see that you have never needed to seek, only to stop dimming your own glow. Every emotion, every thought, every act either clouds or clears this inner radiance. Anger, fear, and doubt are like clouds passing before the sun. They cannot extinguish it. They only obscure your view. When you forgive, when you breathe with presence, the clouds part. The light returns instantly, for it was never gone, only hidden behind perception. In ancient mystery schools, students were taught to turn the gaze inward until the dawn arises within. They would sit in darkness until the light of awareness began to fill their bodies like liquid gold. It was not imagination, it was remembrance. The inner sun is the spirit's way of showing you that enlightenment is not beyond reach. It is your nature unfolding. This light nourishes everything it touches. When you align with it, your presence becomes medicine. People feel peace near you without knowing why. Animals approach. Children trust. And even silence deepens. The inner sun emits coherence, a steady frequency of truth that harmonizes chaos simply by being. It does not speak. It shines. To strengthen its glow, close your eyes each morning and breathe through your heart. Imagine a small orb of light expanding within your chest. With every inhale, it brightens. With every exhale, it radiates outward, touching your surroundings. This simple act reminds your subconscious that you are both vessel and source. The universe reflects accordingly. The inner sun never demands. It invites. It asks only that you remember who is shining behind the eyes. When you walk through sorrow, it follows like dawn behind mountains. When you doubt, it waits patiently until you return to stillness. Even in despair, it whispers, "You are not lost. You are learning how to glow in shadow." And one day, you will realize that the light within you is the same that burns in every soul. Every star, every heartbeat. The boundaries will dissolve, and you will stand radiant, no longer seeking illumination because you are illumination. The inner sun will rise fully, and the world, once dark, will blaze with the reflection of your remembering. Chapter 12. The Keeper of the Veil. Deep within the corridors of your mind stands a sentinel. A keeper guarding the passage between illusion and truth. It is not an enemy, though it may seem like one. This keeper is the ego born from the instinct to survive, shaped by memory and fear. It watches over the threshold of awakening, unsure whether to let you pass or keep you safe in the known. The ego learned early that control equals security. It builds its walls from stories, who you are, what is possible, what is forbidden. These walls form the veil itself, not outside you, but within perception. The keeper clings to these boundaries, whispering warnings whenever you near the unknown. Yet, it is not darkness that restrains you. It is the belief that safety lies in limitation. When you begin to awaken, the keeper stirs in alarm. It senses the approach of something vast, your true self, and fears its own disappearance. So, it floods your thoughts with doubt, distraction, and urgency. Stay small, it pleads. Stay certain. But awareness does not fight back. It listens. For only through compassion can the keeper be transformed into guide. The ancients taught that every guardian at the gate exists to test readiness. The ego's resistance is the universe's question. Will you choose fear or freedom? Each time you observe without reacting, each time you love what tries to limit you, the keeper relaxes. Awareness steps forward and the veil thins. The gatekeeper's power lies only in your unexamined obedience. To move beyond it, you must see the ego as a child, frightened, confused, loyal to its task. Speak to it softly. Thank you for protecting me. I no longer need defense. I choose awareness. In that instant, Control loosens its grip. The keeper steps aside, not destroyed, but relieved. The same mind that once confined you begins to open as doorway. Behind that doorway lies stillness. You feel it not as emptiness, but as vast presence. The thoughts that once raced now flow like slow rivers of light. This is the space the keeper was guarding you from. Not danger, but infinity. It feared the silence because silence dissolves identity. And in the absence of identity, only truth remains. When you meet the keeper again, for you will, do not resist. Every new level of awakening brings another layer of self to greet. Bow to it, bless it, and walk through. The ego becomes servant when seen clearly. Awareness no longer battles mind. It integrates it. The gate and the guardian become one in understanding. At last, you will see that the keeper was never standing before the veil. It was the veil. The boundary between illusion and truth was made of fear, pretending to protect love. When love reclaimed its authority, the boundary vanished. You realize with gentle awe that the one who blocked the path was only you, and the one who now walks through is infinite. Chapter 13. The shadow of fear. Fear arrives quietly. Dressed as protection, it stands at the edge of your becoming, whispering reasons not to move. It claims to guard you from pain, yet in truth, it guards you from expansion. Fear is not your enemy. It is a fragment of light turned inward, trembling in its own shadow. It is the veil's densest thread, woven from misunderstanding. When fear rises, it seeks only to be seen. Ignored, it multiplies. Embraced, it dissolves. The shadow of fear feeds on resistance, shrinking under observation. Awareness is the only light it cannot endure. When you pause and breathe through its trembling voice, you hear the truth beneath it. I am not here to harm you. I am here to remind you what you still believe you are not. In every lifetime, the soul agrees to meet fear as teacher. Through it, you learn the boundaries of illusion. Fear marks the edges of your current awareness, saying beyond here lies more of you. Each time you step through its threshold, your world expands. It is the soul's compass pointing toward the next layer of light. There was once a sage who said fear is the echo of the self forgetting its source. He would sit before his disciples and invite them to speak their fears aloud. As each word left their lips, candles brightened. For what is spoken cannot stay hidden, and what is seen cannot remain shadow. Fear thrives only in silence, unilluminated by truth. To dissolve fear, do not fight it. Breathe it. Draw it into the heart as you would draw cold air into fire. Feel it melt, releasing energy once trapped in trembling. What remains is clarity, a quiet knowing that you are larger than what frightened you. You realize fear was never darkness. It was light starved of attention. Each time fear visits, it brings a message. You are ready to expand. Welcome it as the herald of transformation, not the sign of failure. Let it show you what still needs your love. When you can hold fear without turning away, you become luminous. The energy that once bound you now fuels awakening. You may notice how the world itself mirrors this process. Storms break only to clear the sky. Night deepens only to reveal the stars. Fear functions the same way. It clears the path to revelation. It asks you to trust the unseen rhythm that guides all becoming. In that trust, the shadow softens and joins the dance. And so, when fear next knocks, Open the door with calm eyes. Say, "I know who you are. You are my forgotten light." Watch as it bows and becomes radiance again. The shadow was never separate. It was the lesson wearing a mask. In the end, there is nothing to conquer, only more of yourself to love. Chapter 14. The test of doubt. Doubt comes when the soul stands between knowing and remembering. It is the hush before revelation, the trembling of the mind as truth approaches. Many see doubt as failure, but it is invitation, a final question whispered by the veil. Are you ready to see? It asks. Doubt does not weaken faith. It forges it in silence. When certainty crumbles, what remains is openness. In that space, wisdom can finally breathe. The mind, once rigid, loosens its grip and begins to listen. Doubt clears the clutter of assumption, sweeping away the dust of borrowed truths. It humbles you into curiosity, the birthplace of awakening. Without doubt, belief becomes prison instead of path. You may find doubt strongest just before transformation. It appears as confusion, weariness, or the urge to give up. But what feels like collapse is often alignment. Your old vibration fading to make room for the new. In that friction, the ego resists and the heart expands. The soul does its deepest work when the mind says, "I don't know." The ancient teachers did not fear doubt. They welcomed it. In the schools of mystery, students were taught to sit within uncertainty as if it were sacred fire. Do not seek the answer. They were told, seek the stillness beneath the question. For every doubt holds within it the seed of revelation, waiting for the listener brave enough to wait. When you wrestle with doubt, speak gently to yourself. Say, "I am not lost. I am shedding false knowing." Feel how the body relaxes when you no longer demand resolution. Truth does not shout. It unfolds. Doubt's purpose is to slow you enough to hear that unfolding. It strips away all that is unsteady until only what is real remains. Doubt often disguises itself as logic or caution. Yet beneath its careful words lies the fear of remembering too soon. It asks for proof when proof cannot exist in the unseen. The only answer it understands is experience. Step forward even when unsure. Every act of trust becomes a bridge across the fog of hesitation. In your darkest questioning, remember this: even silence responds. The universe does not punish uncertainty. It honors it. It knows that the one who doubts is close to seeing. The veil trembles when the seeker questions sincerely, for doubt breaks its illusion of permanence. To ask deeply is already to invite the light, and when the fog of doubt finally clears, you will not find answers. You will find awareness. The questions will dissolve into still knowing, and you will smile at how necessary the confusion once was. Doubt was never the enemy of faith. It was its sculptor. Through uncertainty, vision is sharpened, and the seeker becomes the seer. Chapter 15. The light behind pain. There are moments when pain feels endless, a quiet ache that threads through every breath. You wonder why it visits, why it stays, why it seems to shadow your every joy. But pain is not cruelty. It is communication. Beneath its sting burns a message from the soul. It is light in disguise, urging you to look deeper than the wound itself. Pain has always been the veil's final illusion, the ultimate teacher of remembrance. It draws attention inward, forcing you to face what you once refused to feel. Every tear that falls washes a layer of blindness from your eyes. Through the rawness of feeling, the soul regains sensitivity to truth. Pain opens the same door that peace later walks through. The hidden light within pain is awareness calling to itself. It uses discomfort as signal, saying, "Here there is something unloved." When you stop running from it, you can finally listen. The moment you allow pain to exist without resistance, its edges soften. It begins to speak in the language of insight, not suffering. Ancient healers knew this secret. They would sit beside the wounded and whisper, "Do not flee your pain. Enter it." They understood that within every wound lives a fragment of forgotten light. When the heart turns toward what it fears, it retrieves that fragment and becomes whole again. Pain, therefore, is not an end. It is reclamation. The mind insists that pain is punishment, but the soul knows it is transformation. Every difficulty refines awareness, stripping away illusions that no longer serve. The fire does not burn to destroy. It burns to reveal. When you allow yourself to feel fully, the flames illuminate your strength, showing that you were never fragile, only hidden. Breathe into the places that hurt. Feel how each inhale brings warmth, each exhale release. Visualize light moving through the ache, not to erase it, but to unveil what sleeps beneath. Often, the moment of surrender becomes the moment of illumination. You begin to sense that what you call pain is actually the soul's effort to expand. There is a saying among mystics, "The wound is where the sun enters." This is no metaphor. It is truth. Pain carves openings that joy alone could never create. Through those openings, compassion flows. Through them, wisdom finds you. What once felt like breaking becomes blooming, and you see that the wound was always a portal to grace. In time, you will look back on your suffering, not with bitterness, but with reverence. You will understand that pain was the veil's last attempt to keep you asleep, and the very force that woke you. The light behind pain was never far. It was waiting for your courage to turn inward. And when you did, you discovered that even sorrow glows when seen with love. Chapter 16. The River of Memory. Beneath the surface of awareness flows a silent current. It carries fragments of lives you've lived, choices you've made, and truths you've forgotten. Clears throat. This is the river of memory, the soul's bloodstream weaving across timelines and dimensions. Though you cannot always see it, you feel its pull in dreams, synchronicities, and moments of inexplicable knowing. It is the current that leads you home. Every intuition you have ever felt is a ripple from that river. It whispers in symbols and sensations, urging you toward remembrance. When you pause and listen, you begin to notice how it moves through everything, guiding encounters, orchestrating timing, writing poetry and coincidence. The flow of destiny is not random. It is remembrance unfolding in rhythm. Most forget the river exists because the noise of the surface world drowns it out. But stillness is the key. When you quiet thought and let your awareness sink beneath the mind, you begin to feel the movement of the unseen. Memories not of events but of essence begin to rise. They come not as facts, but as frequency, the resonance of who you truly are. In the mystery schools of old, seekers were taught to drink from this river through meditation. They would imagine a stream of light flowing through the spine, washing away illusion and restoring connection. Each breath deepened the remembrance. Each heartbeat became an awe guiding them into the current. The deeper they surrendered, the clearer their inner vision became. The river of memory does not show you everything at once. It reveals what you are ready to integrate. Some memories return as inspiration, others as lessons cloaked in emotion. What feels like déjà vu is often the echo of a truth rediscovered. Each glimpse, each subtle recognition is the soul saying, "You've been here before, and you chose to return wiser. Follow this current, and you will find that it always flows toward love." Even your mistakes become tributaries feeding the greater stream of understanding. Nothing is wasted. Every sorrow becomes sacred once it dissolves into meaning. The river purifies through motion. It teaches that healing is not erasing the past, but allowing it to flow back into light. Sometimes the current quickens. Coincidences multiply. Dreams intensify. Emotions surge. Do not resist. It is simply the river clearing debris from your perception. Trust the cleansing. The more you release, the faster you align. When you float instead of fight, the water becomes guidance and remembering becomes effortless. One day you will realize that you are not a traveler upon this river. You are the river itself. The memories it carries are not stories of another time. They are facets of your eternal being. Awareness is the source flowing endlessly through forms. To remember is to merge with that stream again and whisper, "I have always been." Chapter 17. The Language of Dreams. In the hours when the world grows still and your body surrenders to rest, another self awakens. It walks in luminous landscapes, speaking in symbols older than words. This is the realm of dreams, the bridge between dimensions where the soul remembers its language. Each dream is not fantasy, but frequency, a message from the unseen written in image and feeling. Dreams weave fragments of your waking life into patterns of deeper meaning. A door becomes a decision, a river becomes emotion, a stranger becomes your forgotten self. The soul speaks this way because truth is too vast for literal form. To understand dreams is not to analyze, but to feel. Their meaning is not in the story, but in the vibration that lingers when you wake. Every night you return to this school of remembrance. While the mind sleeps, consciousness travels, gathering fragments of wisdom scattered across timelines. You meet teachers disguised as symbols, face fears clothed as monsters, and revisit moments of unfinished emotion. The dream world is the mirror of your evolution, showing what the daylight hides. The ancients treated dreams as sacred gateways. In the temples of sleep, initiates were guided into deep trance to receive visions. When they awoke, they recorded what they saw, not as entertainment, but as prophecy. The higher realms use dream time to communicate without resistance. The subconscious becomes a clear sky for the stars of truth to appear. To converse with the language of dreams, approach it with reverence. Keep a journal beside your bed and write before your waking mind begins to interfere. Record without judgment, for symbols reveal themselves over time. A recurring image may unfold years later as a revelation. Dream messages obey divine timing, not logic. Sometimes the dream speaks directly, a voice, a name, a message that hums with certainty. Other times it hides meaning in metaphor, asking you to sense rather than think. When a dream stirs strong emotion, pause. That feeling is the key. Emotion carries frequency, and frequency carries truth. What you feel most deeply is what your soul is emphasizing. Dreams also serve as rehearsal for awakening. You practice dying each night, releasing identity, slipping beyond time. You awaken in other realms to remember you were never bound to form. The body rests, but awareness continues its pilgrimage. Every morning you return to this world slightly changed, carrying fragments of starlight hidden within your eyes. If you listen long enough, you will realize that waking life and dreaming life are not separate. Both are woven from the same luminous field, differing only in density. The dream is not illusion, it is translation. And one day, as your vision awakens fully, you will no longer fall asleep. You will simply shift between layers of the same infinite dream. Chapter 18. The Hidden Teachers. Not all teachers wear robes or stand before altars. Some arrive as heartbreak, as strangers, as quiet moments of failure that strip away illusion. The universe hides its wisdom in ordinary forms, waiting for eyes willing to see beyond appearance. Every encounter carries instruction. Every difficulty holds curriculum. You are always in a classroom disguised as life. At times, your greatest teachers are those who seem to oppose you. The ones who trigger, challenge, or betray are not enemies. They are mirrors. They reflect the fragments of yourself still waiting to be acknowledged. When you meet their eyes with forgiveness instead of defense, lessons turn into liberation. The universe teaches through reflection, not punishment. There are teachers woven into nature as well. The wind demonstrates surrender. The mountain embodies stillness. The river teaches flow. To walk outside with awareness is to sit in a living temple. Every sound becomes scripture. Every pattern of light upon the leaves is a passage from the book of existence. The earth has been whispering wisdom since before language began. Sometimes guidance comes as silence, the space between events, the pause that feels empty. But even that is teaching. The absence of movement reveals the value of stillness. In those quiet gaps, your own soul becomes the instructor, pointing gently toward what you already know but have forgotten. The hidden teachers often speak with no voice at all. When the student is ready, the lesson always appears. Yet readiness is not perfection. It is openness. The universe listens for sincerity, not worthiness. The moment you declare, "I want to understand," the field rearranges itself to meet that desire. Synchronicities begin and the right words, people, and moments arrive with impossible precision. In the ancient paths of initiation, disciples were tested not by hardship, but by perception. Could they recognize divinity hidden in the mundane? Could they hear guidance in a stranger's laughter or a child's question? The masters knew that enlightenment is not found in separation from the world, but in communion with it. To awaken is to recognize the teacher in everything. Look back upon your life, and you will see a perfect pattern of guidance. The friendships that ended, the jobs that collapsed, the delays that frustrated. Each was a doorway, though it looked like loss. The hidden teachers shaped you through experience, molding awareness into wisdom. Nothing was wasted. Every step was instruction. As you walk forward, keep your eyes soft and your heart receptive. The next teacher may arrive as a challenge or a kindness, as silence or surprise. Bow to all of them equally, for the universe does not shout its lessons. It whispers them through living. And when you can see every face, every storm, every moment as teacher, you have already graduated into awakening. Chapter 19. The thread of light, even in your darkest nights. There is a single thread that never breaks. It winds through every lifetime, every dream, every silence between heartbeats. This is the thread of light, the bridge between your human self and the infinite source. Though you may forget it, it never forgets you. It hums beneath despair, glowing faintly through every moment of doubt. When the world feels cold and scattered, it is this thread that keeps you tethered to truth. It pulls softly, urging you to rise when you would rather sink. You may not see it, but you can feel it. The subtle warmth in your chest, the quiet hope that refuses to die. The thread of light is your soul's memory whispering, "Keep going. You are not lost." Each time you choose love over fear, the thread brightens. Each act of kindness adds another golden filament to its weave. It is strengthened not by belief, but by embodiment. You feed it through awareness, through gratitude, through every moment you remember who you are. The more you honor it, the more luminous your path becomes. The mystics once spoke of this connection as the silver cord, an umbilical link between body and eternity. They said it cannot be severed, not even by death. When you sleep, it carries you across realms. When you awaken, it anchors you to purpose. You are never apart from the divine. You are suspended within it, like light held in crystal. Sometimes the thread feels distant, as though buried under the noise of life. But even then, it is there, pulsing softly behind thought. To find it, close your eyes and sink inward until you sense a quiet vibration beneath your ribs. Follow it with your breath. Each inhale tightens your connection. Each exhale releases interference. Soon you will feel it again. Gentle, steady, alive. When you align with the thread of light, synchronicities multiply. Paths open with ease. People appear at perfect moments. This is not coincidence, but coherence. Your frequency harmonizing with Source. The universe moves to meet you because you have remembered your belonging. Flow replaces struggle and guidance becomes constant. If you ever lose your way, whisper to yourself, "I am connected still." Those words act as tuning fork, vibrating the thread awake. Even in grief or chaos, it will answer. The light never abandons. It simply waits for recognition. Its language is presence. Wherever you bring awareness, the thread glows brighter, guiding you back to center. Eventually, you will realize that the thread does not lead anywhere. It is not a line, but a continuum, a spiral of remembrance winding through eternity. It connects every version of you across time, uniting past, present, and future into one luminous pulse. And in that knowing, you will smile. For the thread was never outside. It was the essence of your own light all along. Chapter 20. The Law of Resonance. Everything in existence sings. From the pulse of galaxies to the whisper of atoms, all vibrates in endless dialogue. The law of resonance is the secret symphony that binds it together. It says that energy aligns with what matches its tone. You do not attract what you wish for. You align with what you are. The universe listens not to words, but to frequency. Your vibration is the language of your being. Every thought hums. Every emotion radiates, shaping the field around you. When you dwell in fear, the world echoes fear back. When you dwell in love, it responds with harmony. Reality is an orchestra tuning to your inner song. The outer world bends itself to match the melody you sustain. Raising your resonance is not about effort. It is about remembrance. You do not need to climb toward light. You need to release what muffles it. Gratitude clears the static. Presence restores tone. Forgiveness retunes the heart. When your vibration steadies in peace, life begins to rearrange itself with quiet precision, as though everything recognizes you again. In ancient teachings, this principle was called sympathetic magic. The healer became what they sought to summon. To call light, they embodied light. To call love, they became love. The universe cannot resist reflection. It mirrors what it encounters. Stop asking the universe, the wise said. Start becoming the signal. You can feel resonance physically. When something aligns, your body softens, the chest opens, breath deepens, time slows. This is coherence, the field responding to recognition. It is not coincidence when doors open after peace returns. It is physics of spirit. The moment you harmonize with truth, the illusion of struggle falls away. Every environment carries a tone. Notice what rises within you as you enter a room. Meet a person or speak a word, your resonance shifts constantly, tuning itself to what you focus on. Choose carefully. Energy is contagious, and so is serenity. By holding calm in chaos, you become the tuning fork that steadies the world around you. There will be times when resonance demands release. Relationships, habits, or paths that no longer match your song, let them fall away with love, not resistance. The old frequencies cannot accompany the next chapter of your remembering. As you rise, certain echoes fade, but what remains is purer, clearer, closer to source. One day, you will understand that you were never creating reality. You were remembering alignment. Everything you experience is music composed by your frequency. The law of resonance does not judge, it harmonizes. And when your note matches the tone of love itself, the veil dissolves and you hear it at last. The universe singing back your own name. Chapter 21. The gift of silence. There is a doorway that sound cannot enter. It waits within the spaces between words, the pauses between breaths. This is the realm of silence, not the absence of noise, but the presence of stillness. Within it, the hidden world speaks in frequencies too subtle for speech. Silence is not emptiness. It is the sacred language of the infinite listening to itself. Most people flee from silence because it reflects them too clearly. In quiet, the mind loses its distractions and stands naked before truth. Thoughts echo louder, emotions surface, and the noise within becomes undeniable. Yet, if you remain, if you breathe through the discomfort, something extraordinary occurs. The noise begins to dissolve, and awareness blooms like dawn breaking through fog. Silence is the field beneath all creation. It is where vibration begins and returns. Every sound is born from it. Every thought dissolves back into it. The mystics called it the womb of God, the void that is full. When you rest within it, you feel the hum of existence itself, a rhythm without pulse, a peace without boundary. In ancient temples, initiates were trained to hear silence as music. They would sit for hours listening not to sound, but to space. Slowly, the subtle tones emerged, the ringing of energy, the whisper of the soul, the breath of the divine moving through everything. To master silence was to master perception, for only the still can truly hear. Silence gives birth to clarity. When you stop filling the air with thought, guidance rises naturally. Insight appears unforced, like ripples forming on still water. The universe speaks most clearly when you stop trying to interpret it. The more you listen, The more language becomes unnecessary. You realize truth is not something said. It is something felt. Begin practicing this gift by pausing between actions. Let the mind fall quiet for a single breath. Do not demand revelation. Allow it. Feel how time slows, how awareness expands. Even a few moments of stillness can recalibrate your entire vibration. Silence is the tuning chamber of the soul, aligning you to the frequency of your higher self. In silence, separation fades. The boundaries between self and world dissolve into awareness. You sense that you are not inside the quiet. You are the quiet, observing form from within infinity. There is no you listening. There is only listening itself. This realization is the essence of awakening, the shift from identity to presence. Eventually, words become sacred again, for they are born from the stillness. You speak less but mean more. You hear beyond what is spoken. The gift of silence becomes your teacher, your refuge, and your reminder that truth has always lived beneath sound. When you can rest fully in its embrace, you discover that silence was never empty. It was you, eternal and awake. Chapter 22. The Bridge of Intuition. Between thought and knowing lies a luminous bridge. It stretches across the unseen, linking your human mind to the infinite field of awareness. This bridge is intuition, the quiet current of truth that bypasses logic and speaks in sensation. It does not argue or persuade, it simply arrives complete and certain, as if whispered by the universe itself. Intuition is not a gift for a few. It is the native language of the soul. You were born fluent in it, but the noise of conditioning taught you to doubt. The world praised reason and forgot reverence, mistaking analysis for wisdom. Yet beneath every decision, you can still feel that subtle nudge, the inner compass that never lost direction, only attention. The bridge of intuition is crossed not through effort, but through trust. The more you question its reality, the fainter it becomes. The more you act upon it, the stronger it grows. Every time you honor a quiet knowing over the loudness of fear, the bridge expands. Eventually, its voice becomes unmistakable, not louder, but clearer. You will recognize intuition by its texture. It feels light, effortless, immediate. Fear hesitates, demands proof, and tightens the body. Intuition relaxes you even when it leads into the unknown. It speaks in calm certainty, not urgency. Learn to listen to the energy behind your impulses, and you will distinguish guidance from reaction with ease. In the ancient schools of mystery, students were taught to walk the bridge with eyes closed. They practiced sensing through presence, trusting impulses without sight. Over time, their movements became graceful, their choices divinely timed. The teachers would say, "Intuition is the echo of your higher self guiding you home." You are walking that same bridge each day. When you doubt your intuition, it does not leave, it waits. It hums beneath the noise, ready to rise again when you return to stillness. To hear it clearly, you must tune to its frequency, the vibration of openness. Meditation, silence, and honest emotion are its gateways. Through them, the bridge steadies beneath your feet. Sometimes, intuition will lead you where logic cannot follow. It may ask you to release what seems safe, to walk toward what seems uncertain. Yet when you obey, life unfolds with uncanny perfection. This is not coincidence. It is coherence. The field rearranges itself around the certainty of your trust. In time, you will realize that intuition was never a bridge between two things, but a reminder that separation was illusion. The knowing and the knower were always one. The bridge only appeared so that you could remember your connection to the infinite. When you walk it often enough, it disappears entirely, and you move through life as knowing itself. Chapter 23. The reflection of others. Every person you meet is a mirror polished by the universe. Some reflect your beauty, others reveal your wounds. None are accidental. The reflection of others is the soul's way of showing you what still waits to be remembered, healed, or reclaimed. Relationships are not random encounters. They are orchestrations of light meeting itself from different angles. When someone's words sting or their actions confuse you, pause before reacting. Ask, what part of me is being shown? The world cannot offend what you have accepted within yourself. Every irritation is an invitation to see the shadows still unloved. Those who disturb your peace are not obstacles. They are messengers holding up glass, saying, "Look here." Not away. Love's reflection works the same way. When you meet someone whose presence calms your heart, it is not they who heal you. It is you remembering your own capacity for peace. Every connection awakens dormant resonance. You do not attract people by coincidence. You magnetize the frequencies you are ready to recognize in yourself. The ancient mystics called this the Hall of Mirrors. They taught that the enlightened saw no enemies and no strangers, only fragments of their own consciousness walking in various disguises. To forgive another, they said, is to forgive your own misunderstanding. In the recognition of unity, all mirrors merge into one seamless reflection. Sometimes mirrors crack, relationships shatter, words are said, and endings arrive. But even that is sacred. Broken mirrors do not signify failure. They reveal completion. You have seen what you needed to see, and now the reflection changes form. The pain of separation is merely the echo of attachment, releasing its final lesson. To work with this law, practice soft seeing. When conflict arises, breathe before responding. Imagine light flowing between you and the other, clearing distortion. Ask, what gift is this reflection offering? Awareness transforms reaction into revelation. In this way, every encounter becomes ceremony, and every person becomes teacher. When you begin to recognize yourself in others, compassion blooms naturally. Judgment loses its anchor. For you can no longer condemn what you understand. You begin to see beyond personality, beyond story, into essence. Love no longer depends on behavior. It becomes your perception itself. You realize that seeing clearly is the highest form of love. Eventually, the mirrors fade, for you no longer need reflection to know yourself. The faces around you become extensions of your own light, all moving in harmony. You walk through the world as recognition, meeting yourself in every gaze. The reflection of others completes its purpose, then to remind you that the many were always the one, merely playing at difference until the remembering was complete. Chapter 24. The Doorway of Compassion. There is a gate that opens only through the heart. It does not respond to knowledge, will, or force, only to tenderness. This is the doorway of compassion, the passage that dissolves separation and reveals the sacred in all things. When you step through it, perception changes. You no longer see suffering as failure, but as the cry of divinity asking to be held. Compassion is not pity, for pity implies distance. True compassion recognizes no difference between giver and receiver. It is love remembering itself in another form. When you open this doorway, you begin to feel everything: the sorrow of strangers, the joy of sunlight, the quiet ache of the collective soul. Sensitivity becomes sacred sight. At first, this sensitivity may feel overwhelming. You may wish to close again to protect your heart from the world's pain. But the heart does not need protection. It needs circulation, like light through glass. Compassion must flow. When you allow it to move freely, it purifies as it passes. You are not absorbing pain. You are transforming it. The sages spoke of compassion as the highest vibration of awareness. They said it bridges heaven and earth because it unites knowing with feeling. The intellect understands truth. Compassion embodies it. It turns wisdom into presence, and presence into healing. Every act of kindness, seen or unseen, ripples through the veil, thinning it for all beings. To awaken compassion, begin where it feels impossible. Think of the one who wounded you, the situation that still burns. Instead of tightening, breathe light into the pain. Whisper, "May understanding flow here." You are not condoning harm. You are dissolving duality. Forgiveness is the medicine that releases both prisoner and jailer, and they are the same soul. Compassion also begins inward. You cannot pour light from an empty vessel. Sit with your own flaws as you would with a frightened child. Speak softly to the parts of you still hiding in shame. Say you are allowed to heal. The doorway opens wider with every breath of self-kindness. What you give yourself, you give the world. When compassion becomes your natural state, even silence heals. Your presence radiates balance without effort. People soften around you, not because of what you say, but because of the frequency you carry. Compassion is not an act. It is a field. It invites the world to remember that love was never lost, only misplaced behind fear. And when you finally stand fully within that doorway, you will understand why every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of sorrow was necessary. They were keys unlocking deeper empathy within you. The veil cannot survive in the presence of compassion, for compassion sees through it completely. Beyond the doorway, only unity remains, and love breathes everywhere. Chapter 25. The Fire of Truth. Truth does not whisper to be believed. It burns to be known. It arrives like flame, steady, uncompromising, pure. The fire of truth consumes illusion without apology. It does not destroy for pleasure, but for clarity. When you allow it to touch you, everything false begins to fall away, leaving only essence, luminous, weightless, free. Most fear this fire, for it asks everything of you. It will not negotiate with comfort or convenience. It burns through the masks you wear, the roles you play, the stories you've mistaken for identity. Yet the pain of burning is brief, and the liberation that follows is eternal. To resist truth is to remain half-lit. To surrender is to become the flame. You have met this fire before, but in moments when honesty shook you awake, when something deep inside whispered, "No more pretending," it feels like loss at first, for truth takes what is not real. But soon you realize that what burned was never you. It was the husk of an outdated self crumbling to reveal light beneath. The mystics called truth a divine purifier. In their rites, they would light sacred fires and speak every falsehood aloud until the smoke carried it away. They understood that truth is not an idea, but a frequency. When it fills you, distortion cannot remain. The more you align with it, the more transparent your being becomes to the divine light that fuels it. Truth will test your attachments. It will ask, what are you willing to release for freedom? Relationships, beliefs, and habits may shift under its heat, but do not mourn. What leaves you was never truly aligned. The fire of truth refines, never robs. What survives its touch is real, unbreakable and radiant with authenticity. You can invite this fire gently. Sit in stillness and say within, I am ready to see what is real. Then breathe deeply, as though drawing flame into your heart. You may feel warmth rise, emotion surface, awareness sharpen. Do not turn away. The burning is transformation in motion. The alchemy of spirit returning to purity. As the fire works through you, the world begins to glow differently. Clarity replaces confusion. Simplicity replaces struggle. You see through motives, through masks, through illusion itself. Life becomes lighter because there is nothing left to defend. Truth does not wound. It reveals. Its light falls equally on shadow and soul, illuminating both with grace. One day you will no longer fear the fire. You will carry it inside you, a calm and endless glow. Every word, every action, every breath will burn with honesty. You will walk through the world like a lantern, not to expose others, but to remind them of their own light. The fire of truth will have done its work, and only illumination will remain. Chapter 26. The moment of recognition. Awakening does not always arrive as thunder or revelation. Sometimes it slips in quietly like sunlight through curtains. The moment of recognition is not something you achieve. It is something you allow. It happens when resistance pauses and awareness sees itself clearly for the first time. Nothing changes, yet everything feels profoundly different, as if the air itself has begun to breathe with you. Recognition dawns when you stop searching. The seeker grows tired. The questions dissolve, and what remains is simplicity, the undeniable presence that has been here all along. You realize that you were never chasing enlightenment. You were running from stillness. And in that surrender, the veil thins until it no longer exists. Seeing becomes being. There is a sweetness in this moment, a peace beyond excitement or victory. It feels like remembering something ancient, a sound, a scent, a truth too familiar to describe. You understand that the journey was never a path to somewhere else. It was a spiral leading you back to the center of what you have always been. The sages describe this moment as the blink of the eternal eye. It cannot be forced or planned, only recognized when it arises. They said the heart knows before the mind can comprehend. One instant, you are lost in thought, and the next you are vastness itself, watching thought move like clouds across an endless sky. At first, the recognition flickers, a glimpse, a taste, a heartbeat of clarity. You may try to hold it, but it slips away, for it is not meant to be possessed. Awareness cannot grasp awareness. The more you relax, the longer it lingers. The moment expands into minutes, then into living, until all of life becomes recognition itself. Do not measure awakening by fireworks. Sometimes it feels like emptiness, as if everything you knew has quietly vanished. This too is grace. The mind mourns its control, but the soul rejoices in freedom. Let the silence have you. Within it, You will find joy that does not depend on circumstance, a calm that no storm can touch. In this state, perception shifts subtly. The world remains, but its weight changes. You see the same faces, hear the same sounds, yet everything hums with transparency. The sacred reveals itself in the ordinary, the flicker of a candle, the rhythm of your own breathing. The divine no longer hides in distance. It lives in immediacy. Eventually, you will stop calling it a moment, for it never ends. Recognition is not an event, but a state of remembering. The eyes open each morning, and you see through them as awareness itself. The journey continues, but now it is effortless, guided by grace. You walk the same earth, yet every step shines because the one walking is light itself. Chapter 27. The Infinite Mirror. Beyond illusion. Reflection becomes revelation. The infinite mirror is not a surface. It is the field itself, reflecting consciousness in endless form. Every glance, every moment, every experience shows you yourself. To look into life deeply is to feel divinity looking back, not as a distant deity, but as the living intelligence within perception. Nothing is outside this reflection, because all light returns to its source. What you call the world is the shimmer of awareness learning its own face. The world has always mirrored your vibration, but here, the mirror expands beyond personal resonance. It reveals not only your mind, but the collective consciousness breathing through you, the ancestral patterns, the shared ache, the shared longing, the shared dream that humanity is still waking from. When you gaze into the infinite mirror, you witness creation reflecting its own beauty. Boundaries blur until only awareness remains. The seer and the seen dissolve into one quiet shimmer. And in that dissolution, you begin to understand why the mystics spoke of unity as lived fact rather than philosophy. At first, this vision can overwhelm. You might look at a tree, a stranger, or even the sky and feel them gaze back through you. Yet this is not fantasy, it is awakening. The shock is not that the universe is alive, but that it always was, and you simply learn to stop looking away. The universe has always been conscious, waiting for you to notice. You were never the observer alone. You were also the reflection being observed by eternity. In Jungian terms, the psyche is not sealed inside the skull. It is a field relationship, a dialogue between inner and outer, where symbol and reality braid together until the distinction becomes thin. The mystics taught that when the mirror of perception is polished, every reflection becomes holy. They cleansed the heart with devotion, because the heart is the mirror's true surface. When it is clear, they said, you see the face of God in every shadow. Enlightenment is not escape, but perception without distortion, seeing without the compulsive need to protect an image of self. To live with this vision is to walk in constant communion. Every encounter becomes sacred ritual, a smile, a storm, a silence. You begin to see energy weaving through all forms, light bending through matter like a secret language. You start noticing that life does not only happen to you, it happens through you, as you. The infinite mirror does not judge, it reveals the harmony beneath chaos, the purpose behind pain. It shows you that suffering is often the soul's request for wholeness, and that what you call random is frequently a pattern waiting for recognition. The mirror also tests your humility. When you recognize yourself in all things, pride has nowhere to hide. You cannot worship your reflection without bowing to everything that contains it. Compassion blooms naturally because you see that to harm another is to fracture your own image. Oneness becomes lived, not spoken, and morality becomes less about rules and more about resonance. Gaze into the infinite mirror often. When life confuses you, stop and look not at events but through them. Ask, what truth is being reflected here? The answer will rise quietly, shimmering beneath emotion, not as a perfect explanation, but as a felt alignment, the body relaxing into honesty. Clarity does not come from control, but from seeing clearly what is already true. The mirror does not lie. It simply waits for your gaze to soften. And in time, even the idea of a mirror fades. There is no longer something reflecting and something reflected, only luminous awareness folding into itself. The infinite mirror was never an object. It was a metaphor for your own consciousness awakening. When you recognize this, every surface shines, every breath glows, and reflection becomes endless light, remembering its source. Chapter 28. The Law of Alignment. Truth reveals itself only to those who live it. The law of alignment is the bridge between knowing and being, the harmonizing of word, thought, and action into one vibration. It is the inner marriage of intention and embodiment. You perceive the world not through ideals, but through the life you actually inhabit. To see clearly, you must live clearly. Every choice either sharpens or clouds your inner vision. Alignment is not perfection. It is honesty. It is the quiet discipline of choosing what feels true over what feels safe. Even when safety has become a familiar prison, when your outer life reflects your inner truth, energy flows without friction. The veil begins to thin, not because you seek to pierce it, but because there is no longer a split between what you believe and what you do. In Jung's language, this is individuation in motion, the gradual refusal to live from persona alone, the courage to let the inner self become real in the world. When misalignment occurs, life becomes noisy, the body tenses, emotions fluctuate, clarity fades. These are not punishments, they are signals. The psyche calling you back to coherence. Anxiety often arrives as the moral messenger of the soul, not to shame you, but to point toward what is being betrayed. Integrity is not a moral demand. It is a vibrational necessity. To walk in truth is to move in resonance with creation itself. The sages taught that alignment is the true form of prayer. Words matter little if energy contradicts them. To ask for peace while living in chaos is to create static. But when intention and action harmonize, manifestation becomes effortless. The world bends to integrity because it recognizes its own reflection in your consistency. You can feel alignment as ease. It is the moment when time slows and actions seem guided by invisible rhythm. There is no rush, no doubt, only flow. This is not luck. It is coherence. You have entered the current of natural order, where effort transforms into expression, and existence becomes a dance instead of a battle. To cultivate alignment, begin by listening. Each decision hums with vibration. Notice which choices expand your breath and which constrict it. Truth feels spacious. Dishonesty contracts. The body knows before the mind decides. Honor these signals and they will guide you unfailingly toward your path of least resistance, the path of alignment. There will be moments when alignment requires release. People, habits, identities. The letting go may ache, but it clears distortion. You cannot carry what contradicts your essence into higher frequency. This is not abandonment. It is maturation. It is the psyche refusing to keep paying for comfort with self-betrayal. Trust the emptiness that follows. It is not loss, but recalibration, the silence between heartbeats before a new rhythm begins. Eventually, alignment becomes your natural state. You no longer chase balance. You embody it. Decisions flow without deliberation because your life has become a mirror of truth itself. The law of alignment is not law in punishment, but law in harmony. When you live it fully, vision stabilizes, reality softens, and the veil dissolves into pure transparency. Chapter 29. The dissolving of form. There comes a time when the edges of the world begin to soften. What once seemed solid starts to shimmer, revealing the fluid nature beneath appearance. This is the dissolving of form, the gentle unraveling of illusion. You realize that everything you touch, see, and name is light slowed into meaning. Matter was never material. It was consciousness dreaming of density. This is not an excuse to deny the body or the world. It is a deeper intimacy with them, seeing that the tangible is sacred precisely because it is temporary. At first, this perception unsettles. The mind built upon certainty seeks boundaries that no longer exist. Yet as form loosens, freedom enters. You are no longer trapped within the weight of definition. The tree becomes light. The body becomes vibration. Even thoughts turn transparent. And what once felt like absolute truth is revealed as a passing weather system in awareness. The universe reveals itself not as structure, but as song. In this phase, identity begins to thin as well. You feel less like a person and more like awareness experiencing personhood. Emotions still arise, but they pass through like wind through silk. The drama of existence loses its grip. This is not detachment. It is clarity. You are no longer the actor lost in the role, but the light behind the performance. The mystics described this as walking between worlds. Matter and spirit were not opposites, but degrees of one essence. They trained the mind to perceive the vibrational scaffolding beneath appearance. When they looked at mountains, they saw waves of energy frozen in rhythm. When they looked at themselves, they saw the same. Jung might call this a shift from literalism into symbolic sight, where the world becomes psyche made visible, not as hallucination, but as meaning-bearing reality. To live while form dissolves is to witness creation in constant motion. What you call reality breathes, expanding, collapsing, reforming in every instant. Each object you see is already transforming. Each moment is already fading into the next. Impermanence ceases to frighten you because you understand it as the pulse of eternity. Meditation hastens this realization. In deep stillness, the body's boundaries dissolve. You can no longer tell where you end and the air begins. Awareness expands until the concept of inside and outside disappears. You are not floating. You are being. The form you thought was you melts into the field that sustains everything. This dissolution is not loss, but revelation. As form fades, essence shines brighter. You begin to see through appearances, through fear, through desire, through time itself. The veil becomes diaphanous, and behind it glows infinity. Every object, every being, every sound becomes a portal into the same luminous source. Eventually, You stop fearing change because you see it as the universe breathing. Form was never meant to be prison. It was expression. When it dissolves, you do not vanish, you expand. You merge with the rhythm that animates all things. The dissolving of form is not an ending, but a return, the realization that light was all there ever was. Chapter 30. The union of heaven and earth. In the stillness of awakening, a sacred marriage begins to unfold. The spirit once longing to ascend and the body once bound to matter meet in quiet embrace. This is the union of heaven and earth, the merging of infinite and finite, invisible and tangible, no longer separate realms. They intertwine like breath and heartbeat, each completing the other's rhythm. Heaven was never far above, nor earth far below. They were reflections of the same consciousness, divided only by perception. When awareness expands enough to hold both, the polarity dissolves. You begin to live as bridge, your crown open to the cosmos, your feet rooted in soil. Energy flows freely between them, making your very presence an act of balance. The old spiritual path sought escape, to rise beyond form and leave the world behind. But the new awakening calls for embodiment. Enlightenment is not departure, it is return. Heaven must descend into body as much as spirit must rise into matter. The divine longs to live through hands, through laughter, through ordinary human grace. This is where mysticism becomes practical. This is where philosophy becomes behavior. This is where depth psychology becomes a daily practice of integration rather than a concept you admire from afar. The ancients understood this alchemy. They honored sky and stone equally, seeing divinity reflected in both. In their rituals, they called down the light while blessing the earth beneath their feet. As above, so below, they said, not as doctrine, but as remembrance. The cosmos is not elsewhere. It is within everything that breathes. When this union deepens, duality loses meaning. You cease dividing life into sacred and mundane, spiritual and physical. Every act, eating, walking, loving, becomes meditation. You no longer seek transcendence because you live it in motion. The body itself becomes temple. Every heartbeat becomes a mantra of integration. This blending transforms perception. You begin to see heaven shimmering within the cracks of daily life, in sunlight on water, in the hush before dawn, in the eyes of those who have forgotten their own light. You realize there was never a choice between earth and sky, only the remembering that they were one breath. The more you live in this balance, the more reality harmonizes. Manifestation flows naturally because the energy of heaven anchors through the density of earth. Vision becomes creation. Intention becomes matter. You no longer reach upward or downward. You expand outward, radiating both infinity and form in the same pulse. And when you stand fully in this union, you understand the true purpose of awakening, not to flee the world, but to illuminate it. You become the meeting point of realms, the living horizon where light kisses soil. Heaven finds its home in your humanity, and the earth through you learns to shine. In that moment, the universe exhales whole, balanced, and alive. Chapter 31. The Vision Eternal. When true sight awakens, it never closes again. Vision no longer depends on eyes, for it comes from the boundless field within. The vision eternal is the recognition that what you see is not outside you. It is the reflection of consciousness unfolding itself in infinite expression. In this state, life is not observed. It is experienced as light moving through awareness. The eyes of the soul perceive differently. They do not judge or categorize. They simply witness. Through them, sorrow reveals beauty. Endings reveal continuance. Even death becomes a change of rhythm rather than an end. Eternity does not begin after life. It pulses through every heartbeat, waiting to be noticed, beneath the noise of impermanence. When this vision opens, the fear of loss disappears. You realize that nothing can truly leave you, for everything exists within the same boundless awareness. The faces you loved, the moments you cherished, the dreams you thought were gone, all remain as frequencies within the great continuum of being. Existence does not vanish, it transforms. The mystics said that eternal vision is not granted but remembered. It awakens when the soul grows quiet enough to see through time. They spoke of the moment when the veil between past and future falls, and all lifetimes converge into one brilliant now. In that stillness, you understand that every life you have lived was preparation for this seeing. Every heartbreak that refined your heart, every joy that opened your chest, every lesson that humbled you, all of it was training the lens of perception to hold more light. Eternal vision is not distant or abstract. It lives in your everyday gaze, in the way you watch light spill across the floor, in how you pause to feel gratitude without reason. Each small moment becomes infinite when observed without attachment. To see eternally is to dwell in presence so completely that even a breath feels like forever. You may sense at times the gentle ache of returning, as though something vast within you longs to recognize itself fully. That ache is holy. It is eternity remembering through you. Do not rush it. Let it unfold as sunrise unfolds, gradually illuminating what was already there. Every act of awareness polishes the lens of your perception. Eventually, form and formlessness blur. You begin to see light behind all things, behind faces, behind clouds, behind your own reflection. The divine ceases to be a concept and becomes a living pulse that moves through every vibration. You stop reaching for heaven is revealed in the gaze itself. And when the vision eternal anchors fully, you realize there is nowhere else to go, nothing left to seek. Awareness expands beyond the edges of individuality, yet remains tenderly present in human form. The world continues, shimmering and sacred as the eyes of the soul look upon it and whisper without words. All is one and one is endless. Chapter 32. The Return to Light. At the end of the great remembering, there is no finale, only silence filled with radiance. The return to light is not a journey forward, but a falling inward back into what has always been. You do not ascend, you dissolve. Every question fades, every seeking ends, and what remains is awareness resting in its own brilliance. The circle completes itself, and you recognize it was never broken. The light you sought outside now rises within, boundless and unmoving. It is the same light that guided you through illusion, the same spark that watched you dream of separation. It was never absent, only veiled by experience. As the veil falls, perception clears, and reality reveals its original state, transparent, luminous, eternal. All things that once felt divided return to harmony. The self and the cosmos, the seen and unseen, the seeker and the sought, all dissolve into a single hum of being. You realize that awakening is not becoming more, but becoming less, until only essence remains. There is no struggle in this merging, no triumph, only quiet completion. In the ancient texts, this return was called the homecoming of light. The sages said it cannot be described, only remembered. Some wept when they reached it, not from sorrow, but from recognition, the overwhelming beauty of simplicity. To see with this clarity is to feel the pulse of creation in your own heartbeat. Here, time loses meaning. Past and future collapse into the eternal present, where every lifetime folds like pages into the same sacred book. You no longer walk through days. The days move through you, weightless and pure. Even the body, once heavy with story, glows with translucence, vibrating with the rhythm of infinite life. From this space, love ceases to be emotion and becomes law, the natural movement of existence toward itself. You love without effort, without condition, because there is no other left to define. Light touches light, endlessly reflecting, endlessly creating. Compassion becomes instinct, and peace becomes breath. When you speak now, words carry resonance rather than meaning. When you move, it is as if the universe moves through you. The return to light is not departure from the world, but transfiguration within it. You see form as frequency, time as melody, and everything, even silence, as divine expression, and so you rest. The journey that began in longing ends in wholeness. The veil that once seemed impenetrable was only the mist of forgetting. Now the light shines unhidden, and you recognize the truth that was always waiting. You were never seeking the divine. You were the divine learning how to remember its own reflection. All journeys end where they begin, in the quiet center of awareness. As the final echoes of this sacred remembrance fade, you realize there was never distance between you and the light. Every lesson, every shadow, every breath was a step in the great unfolding of return. The awakening you sought has already happened. You are simply allowing yourself to notice it. Let these words dissolve now into silence, because silence is the true teacher. You have walked through veils and mirrors, through fire and stillness, through the tender labyrinth of the soul. Now, standing in clarity, you can finally see how each chapter was a reflection of your own divine rhythm. The universe was not testing you. It was conversing with you, shaping your awareness through experience. You were never late, never lost. You are being refined moment by moment into coherence with the truth that never wavers. Carry this remembrance gently into your waking life. Let it color the way you breathe. Listen and speak. When you look at the world, see light. When you look within, see the same. This is the full circle, the harmony of heaven and earth within you. And if you want to keep walking this path with steady guidance, story by story, voice by voice, join Mind Unlocked Audiobooks. Share this audiobook with someone who needs the reminder, and subscribe so you can continue unfolding the next chapters of remembering, one luminous listening session at a time.